Truth and Transcendence, brought to you by Being Space with Catherine Llewellyn. Truth and Transcendence, episode 189. Back in the day, when I did the exegesis program that you may have heard me talk about, one of the phrases that was used was called be, do, have. And what that meant was be the kind of person, do the kind of things that person will do, and have those things that you want to have. So this was supposed to be an antidote for the belief that in order to be happy, you had to be able to do certain things. And in order to be able to do certain things, you had to have certain things. So instead, this was saying, but if you want to have an experience of great wealth, let's say, be the person who has great wealth, do the things the person with great wealth would do, and then have great wealth. Now that's a bit kind of linear and simplistic. But another version of that is, okay, if you want to be someone who has fantastic relationships, be the kind of person who has fantastic relationships. Do the sort of things someone with fantastic relationships would do, and have fantastic relationships. There's a story that you may have heard. So there's a chap who's sailing across the ocean, and he comes across this beautiful desert island. And he can see it's a small island. He can see somebody sitting underneath a tree. And this person sitting under the tree turns out to be a man. He's quite tanned. He's wearing sort of very simple clothing. His bare feet, his toes are in the sand, comfortable in the sand. He's sitting there eating a coconut under the shade of the tree, and the beautiful sunshine is on the beach. And he says to this man, "What are you doing? Just sitting idling there, wasting your life?" And he says, "Oh, no, I'm fine. I'm enjoying myself." "Well, don't you realize that you could get a job and earn money?" "Well, why would I want to do that?" "Well, because then you could establish yourself and get a property and have all sorts of possessions and that would be great." So what would that give me? "Well, then you'd be free." "And what would that give me?" "Well, then you could do whatever you like with your time." And the man said, "Which is what I'm doing now." And the guy in the boat realized this argument was not going to prevail with the particular person. And he sailed away reflecting on this and realizing that a lot of his efforts in life had been trying to get him to somewhere where he could just simply be right from the beginning. Another example of this, there are people that I know someone very well who earns very little money and yet lives a wonderful life. Comfortable home, great garden, lovely views, great friends, great relationships, very creative, always doing creative projects. And when people meet this person, they say, "What's your secret?" And they often say it in a slightly annoyed tone of voice. Because this person is not striving or stressing and running after money and running after one thing or another. They are being, and they are doing what they want to do, and they are being the way they want to be. And they've been doing this all their lives and trusting that this will work out. And it is working out. And sometimes there's been hardship. Sometimes there have been things that he's had to do for himself where someone else might pay someone to do it. But then he's got the ownership of the situation. He knows he's capable, he's resilient. He creates his own life. So this be, do, have idea is really about creating our own lives the way we want them. So instead of focusing on all the things we think we want to have, instead we're saying, why do I want to have that? What is it I think that will give me? The classic example of this is the person who wants a fast car, a beautiful fast car. I used to drive an Aston Martin, which is beautiful and fast. Gorgeous, gorgeous thing. And I just wanted an Aston Martin. I was able to have one for a period of time. And it was a beautiful thing. Now, if I was looking now at why might I want something like that, I might think, well, I want the experience of freedom of traveling fast along the road. I want that beauty, that beautiful shape of the car. It was the DB7, which is one of the most beautiful cars I've ever seen. And the shape of it is a very feminine, flowing shape, incredibly beautiful. I wanted that feeling of beauty. And I also wanted that feeling of being someone who could have something like that. You know, I felt like I said something to myself by having that car. Now, I've since realized that these are all experiences that I can have without having to have an Aston Martin, with all of the associated costs and trials and tribulations of having a high maintenance thing like that in one's life. So I can have beauty anytime I want to by stepping outside and looking at the sky. Now, I don't know if you ever spent time just looking at the sky. And this works best if we do it in all weathers and all different conditions, because the variety and the beauty is astonishing when we really pause and look at it. And it's there all the time. I was thinking the other day that I was looking out at the evening sky as it was sort of sunset and then moving into the evening. And I thought, if I wanted to hire a team of people to create that display in the sky for me, let's say that display was not there and it was just blank, you know, the sky was just blank. If I wanted someone to actually manufacture and install that display at that size, those dimensions for me, that would cost a fortune just for one version, just for one look of that sky. And if I wanted them to create one that would change and alter through the days and through the seasons, that would probably be either impossible or billions of pounds to do. I mean, extraordinary cost. And it was just there, just given to me for free. And I didn't have that feeling of having, you know, created it or been able to purchase it, but I didn't care because I was more connected into the beauty of it. And that sense of freedom that I experienced when I drove that car quickly along the motorway, I can have that sense of freedom anytime I want, just by connecting into my own inherent freedom of spirit, as I spoke about in a recent episode, or by allowing myself to make choices, free choices, and following those choices. So, in fact, when we look at the things that we want to have in our lives, sometimes we can identify what is it we think that thing will give us. And then we can say to ourselves, right, imagine that thing I wanted, the thing that I think the thing will give me, you know, the sense of freedom, the sense of happiness, the sense of completion, the sense of having arrived, the sense of beauty, all of those things. What if I could be the person who has those things now? What if I could wake up and go into my day in an experience of, I am connecting with beauty today. I am noticing beauty today. I'm connecting with freedom today. I'm connecting with accomplishment today. And then do the things that associate with that, which might include standing in front of the mirror, looking at one's face, seeing the beauty in the face. How often do we do that? Or do we look at the face and go, what am I going to do about this face? How can I hide or disguise this face? How can I make it look acceptable? How often do we look at the face in the mirror and say, wow, that is beautiful. That is a beautiful face. Look at how those face muscles can move. Look at how that smile can happen. Look at how those eyes can be bright. Look at how those eyebrows can be moved up and down. Look at how I can tilt my head and make a different expression. Look at all those things that can be done with that beautiful face. Don't get me started on the rest of the body, the hands, the feet, the knees, the hips, the spine, All of these things just about us. And what about looking at the mirror itself? Is that a beautiful mirror? Is that a beautiful wall that it's on? Are you in a beautiful home? Are there some beautiful flowers? Do you have beautiful children there? Beautiful grandchildren? Beautiful flowers? So much beauty. And yet so often we think we have to acquire things in order to have beauty around us, or happiness, or joy, or completion. So be, do, have. Are we being the person who has those things that we want to have? Are we doing the things that that person does? Now, in my experience, when we follow that consistently, when I say consistently, we kind of dip in and out, as I've said before, we dip in and out, we forget, we come back. It's more likely that the things we want and need come towards us. And it's also more likely that the things we thought we wanted and needed, but didn't really want or need, become less important to us, which creates space for what is important to us. So be, do, have. Wishing you a wonderful week. May you be the person you wish to be. May you be happy. And may you do the things that that person does. See you next time.
Thank you for listening to Truth and Transcendence, and thank you for supporting the show by rating, reviewing, subscribing, buying me a coffee and telling a friend. If you'd like to know more about my work, you can find out about transformational coaching, Peloa, and the Freedom of Spirit workshop on beingspace.world. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time.